chosen seed, the sand of the seas, and we never run from nothing. 10 toes down, we can't leave. We in the bond covenant. They angry birds, they can't sleep. Yellow canary, they suffer.
What's a canary to a lion? What is a demon to a guy? Holding their feet to the fire. Yeah, we revealing all their lies. Because this truth they despise. Now they got the world trying to turn on us. Every time we bring up their wickedness, they turn around and put the blame on us. But this train moving, what you really doing is putting a whole lot of fame on us. People waking up left and right, shining bright and not the same on you. Revelation chapter 3 verse 9. Say you're the Jews, but you do lie. The devil see, we see it in your eyes. It's all division, see your own demise.
You thought we was weak, you thought we would leave, we thought we would run for cover. The chosen seed, the sand of the seas, and we never run from nothing. 10 toes down, we can't leave, we in the bond covenant. They angry birds, they can't sleep. Yellow canary, they suffering.
Tweety on his daddy's mission, he done seen the internet as death for him. See the vivid trying to come against us, got the word of God, now we blasting on him. My God's black, green blasting phony. Twitter fingers, but he hiding from me. Got a lot to say with no evidence. Scripts say they black, but your nose rose, he goddamn. Eating them risen, we beating them down with the scriptures, you know how we gets it in. 80 a line, them issues is crying, cause they no comments but limited. Purple and go put it into them. On every corner, we're wide with this medicine. You play the victim, but we know your hidden agenda. Them niggas you kill, they done listen. Listen, we on fire, go kiss it. Then identify, we not missing. Now you on trial, you pedophile for identity theft against Israel. We are official, blasting the Spanish, these people. You thought you could hide, but we seen you. Got to be kidding, if you think you hidden, this water has risen, came down through the bishops. Stay out of business. You mad and we get it. You trying to get out of what's written. Never knew mercy for the word thee. You was a cursed seed from the beginning. Seeking your vengeance and never repented. Never put back what was missing. Oh, you play with God, he gonna show his power. Time is winding down for all Edom.
We outside, they don't wanna play with us. The word of the Lord, we sprung in the soil, it can get dangerous. And we gon' slide, cause it ain't a thing to us. We keeping the charge, they pulling your car, cause it ain't a game to us. We outside, 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 we outside.
Shining light up on your past, you know he been lying. We been corrupted, now disgusted, it's time to break them down. You ain't never had the spirit, no, not one time. Got our people up every Sunday coming to pay your tithe. Hey, but it's time for the real. Samuel, yeah, it's time for the kill. Christianity, part of my friends, but that is got us breaking the seal. Taught us sin, yeah, it made us to kneel. White Jesus like everywhere. Broke our spirit and it made us scared. Now we in the streets, spiritually dead. Pull up. You already know what it is. You hear the boots banging and the trumpet ringing. You know we all up in your grill. Cause this is got to cease. Moving sin, yeah, the mark of the beast. We ain't come here to fight you. We only came here to teach, expanding our reach. Oh, you say you love the people, well, we about to see. Denounce everything that you done taught and give up your seat. Yeah, we knew you wouldn't, cause you ain't for the sheep. You a wolf up in sheep clothing. That's why we had to pull up on
outside. They don't wanna play with us. The word of the Lord, we sprung in the soil, it can get dangerous. And we gon' slide, cause it ain't a thing to us. We keeping the charge, they pulling your car, cause it ain't a game to us. We outside, we outside, we outside.
Shalom, family. Shalom. Most High Christ bless. Hey, let's send up prayers real quick. Let's send up our morning prayers. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. O Heavenly Father, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we send up prayers for Thanksgiving today. We're giving you thanks for giving us leaders upon your own heart to teach us who we are in these last days, as well as giving us purpose in these last days. Also pray for the brothers and sisters that are traveling abroad and about, that you send your angels of protection over them, as well as your angels of healing to the brothers and sisters that are sick with any infirmities, whether it may be mental or physical. We also send up prayers for the destruction of our enemies, that through us keeping your law, statutes, and commandments and learning and returning back to that righteous nation that we once were, we pray that we're able to see the destruction of our enemies. And through this daily bread, we're praying that our brothers and sisters receive the edification to then extract the information and the laws from God's commandments and apply it to their lives. In your mighty Son, name Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, Israel. Most High Christ bless. Hey, we a little late. We had some technical difficulties, but all praise to the Most High. We are on. All right, so the title of the class is bearing the sickness of iniquity. All right, so really, I'm gonna go through a parallel of how sickness is related to sin. So there are certain sins that cause sicknesses and a breakdown in our community, our bodies, things of that nature. So we're gonna deep dive into that, and then we're gonna get the proper medicine that we need according to God's commandments. All right. So let's get into it. Let's set the stage. Shout out to Deacon Abiel. Romans 15:4. Let's go there first. Romans 15:4. Let's set the stage. Let's set the stage first. Romans chapter 15, verse 4.
The book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
So the things that was written before our time, before we set foot on the planet, was actually written for us to learn from. So when we read in the Bible, it goes through different time periods where we're seeing now that we're actually in the final, really what they say, the final boss or the final time period. So now we have to look at the past to see what did our forefathers do when there are certain situations that arose, and how did they handle it, and which scriptures did they apply, and then to what measure did they apply those scriptures to. All right. So let's get to it, because it's very important that we connect with our past, our ancestors, through the scriptures, because now we can avoid pitfalls that they probably fell in their life. Now we can avoid in our life if we read it. All right. Let's go to the law real quick. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. Let's go to the law, because that's where the entire Bible is based off of, is in the law. All right. Deuteronomy 28, verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So it's going to happen that we are not, as a people, we're not going to listen to God's voice. Where's his voice found? It's found in the Bible. So what is that saying? It's saying that we ain't going to read. We're going to be disconnected from this book. Read.
To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
Read.
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So a curse is a ill will. It's something evil. So it's going to be curses or ill wills or evil omens that come upon an entire race of people for not keeping their God's commandments. Now, let's fast forward. Give me 2nd Ezra chapter 4, verse 23. Because when we look at the curses, Israel, we have to look at the present. We have to see, okay, what is the problem in our community, and what is a remedy I can alleviate from the Bible to apply it to my community to then be out of the curse and be in the blessing. All right, let's see Let's see something, because this is something to really glean on. 2nd Ezra chapter 4, verse 23.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 4 and verse 23. For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily.
Well, that does what?
Pass by us daily.
So this is Ezra speaking to Uriel the angel. He said, it wasn't my mind to be curious in high things. Like how many galaxies are there? What's the deepest part of the ocean? What's going on in sector sub B of this area, or what secrets are being hidden? Ezra is saying it wasn't his mind to be on the high things. Read that again.
2nd Ezra chapter 4 and verse 23.
Read.
For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things.
Read.
But of such as pass by us daily.
You see that? Things that pass by us daily. That's the present. So that's the problems and the ill wills or the curses that we see on a daily basis. That's where our mind should be on, because we see it every day. Keep reading.
Namely, wherefore Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen.
So mainly us being given up as a reproach. Why? Because we broke our God's commandments. Now we're given up as a reproach or a laughingstock to the heathen. Everything that's bad always comes out of our nation. That's how the world views everything. Keep reading.
And for what cause the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly nations.
So how were we given over to ungodly nations? Sin, transgression of God's law, the breaking of God's law. Read.
And why the law of our forefathers is brought to naught.
And you see that? The laws of our forefathers is brought to nothing. It's brought to nothing. That's an issue. So this is what we need to be thinking about in the present. We just read Romans 15 and 4, Israel, where it says that it is important for us to go to the past to read of past events, so then we can learn from those past mistakes, fix them in our present so our future is blessed. Now, give me Deuteronomy 28:61, because this is one of the curses. We're going back to the curses. This is one of the things that plague us on a daily right here. Read that real quick, reader.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 61. Also, every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of the law, them will the Lord bring unto thee, until thou be destroyed.
You see that? The Lord is going to bring certain sicknesses upon us until we are destroyed. Why? Because of sin. So you telling me that the Lord has sicknesses tied to sin? Yes, he does. Read that again.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 61. Also, every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed.
So the main sickness that we normally name is like chlamydia, gonorrhea, things of that nature, right? Right? But there's other sicknesses. You have 3 forms of states of health. You have the physical side of health. That's the physical body. Then you have the social side of health, how you interact with one another, your spouse, your neighbor, whatsoever, how you interact, even going down to business. And then you have the mental portion of health. All right. You got the first video? I want the first video about, give me the first video on homeostasis. Yes, we going to learn a little bit today, Israel. Homeostasis. I know it's a scientific word. I know. We're going to break it down to really what does it mean. All right. Y'all ready, IT? Y'all got me?
Yes, sir.
I got you. All right, so again, there's 3 forms of health, Israel. You have the sexual/physical portion of health. You then have the social part of health, and then you have the mental part of health. So the mentality or the mental goes into the spirit. Social is how we interact with one another, and then the physical and sexual part is the physical effects on the body of that said health. All right, you got me? All right, let's go. Yeah, we need some sound.
Body maintains its internal environment in response all structures in the body function together to maintain homeostasis, a process by which the body.
All right, Israel, hey, they working out the kinks over there. So, homeostasis is it's the level of equilibrium that the body holds. While IT gets that, reader, I want you to get Proverbs real quick. Give me Proverbs chapter 20, verse 23. It's amazing that the Lord made our body the way he did. There's 11 different systems that we have that our body tries to find a balance versus what's going on externally. It then finds a balance internally. All right. Read that for me. Proverbs 20:23.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 20 and verse 23. Diverse weights are an abomination unto the Lord, and a false balance is not good.
So you see how the Lord doesn't like false weights? He likes equity. He likes things balanced. So even how he created our bodies, there's a balancing that's going on. If it's too much heat, what does the body do to alleviate itself from internal heat? There's something called sweating. The sweat then comes out of your pores to cool the skin down, at the same time remove bacteria or waste from the body. So the Lord has our bodies specifically made to maintain itself. And if there is a deterrent that happens, our body goes into action to either get rid of that deterrent or alleviate some type of trauma or pain that we go through, whether it may be physical or mental. Does that make sense? I pray it does. I pray it does. Read that one more time.
It won't play. Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 23. Diverse weights are an abomination unto the Lord.
So diverse weights. So of course we understand that back in the day, we used to weigh things based off of weights. If you put gold on, the cost was based off if it balanced out. Does it? So if it balanced out, that means that it was a just price or a just weight. Now, keep reading. Read again.
Sorry about that. Diverse weights are an abomination unto the Lord.
Read.
And a false balance is not good.
So a false balance. So the Lord don't like a false balance. This also goes into that spirit of a huckster or somebody, an opportunist, somebody that's always trying to get up on their brother, where it goes into business deals. At the same time, I'm relating it to the body. Our body has these systems in it that creates something called homeostasis, which is a balance. It's a perfect balance. And it's very beautiful that the Lord has laws in the scriptures about it. He even made our bodies to follow those said laws. Very, very interesting. You got that video ready? All right, we're going to keep going. Real quick, go to, because we can come back to that video once y'all get it up. Give me the definition of disease really quick. Because this is something, we use this word all the time, but we really don't know what it means. Disease. I know a lot of us, we say it's dis-ease or discomfort. No, it's the definition is very beautiful. Definition is very beautiful. When you really look at it, we are a disease community as a whole. We're diseased. Got that definition for me? It's Google the first definition.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Disease. A disease is a particular abnormal condition that adversely affects the structure or function of all or part of an organism and is not immediately due to any.
You see that? It says, so it goes into a dysfunction or disorder of structure or function whether it's a human, an animal, a plant, whether it may be. So if there is disorder and dysfunction somewhere, by definition, that is a disease. Now, let's build the stage. Give me Hebrews 13:4. Hebrews 13:4. Remember, Israel, this book was written for us to learn from. Now let's go to Hebrews 13:4.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled.
So marriage is honorable before all, and the bed undefiled, meaning whatever you and your wife do, if it does not break Leviticus the 18th chapter, if you're not in the midst of any type of fornication, hey, have at it. Y'all can swing from the chandeliers, do whatever. Have at it. But, keep reading.
But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
So a whoremonger and an adulterer, God is going to judge them. Why? They're not honoring marriage. They're having sexual relations with each other with no bond, no tie, no real pushing or backing for responsibility. So the Lord is going to judge them how? Through disease. And yes, we understand these type of diseases such as herpes, HIV, chlamydia. But what other things happen too? What about the physical hurt that also happen with these dysfunctional couples? I'm gonna show you something. Let's go to Psalms 38, verse 4 through 7. I want to show an example of the sexual diseases. The sexual diseases. Because this is how the Lord will judge you. He will judge you on this front here. Again, it's going to be Psalms chapter 38, verse 4.
The book of Psalms, chapter 38 and verse 4. For mine iniquities are gone over mine head as a heavy burden. They are too heavy for me. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness.
Because of his foolishness. Now, this is David speaking. Now, when you read at the subscript of Psalms 38, it says a psalm of David to bring to remembrance. Yeah. So now we understand that this is David. Read that again.
My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness.
Read on.
I am troubled. I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long.
Why? Read.
For my loins filled with loathsome disease.
You see that? He's mourning all the day long because his loins, the loins of a man is his penis, his rod, his reproductive organs. There's a loathsome disease in his loins. Read.
And there is no soundness in my flesh.
You see that? So now we understand that this is a form of a sexually transmitted disease. Something that our brothers and sisters on a daily experience. Why? Because of fornication. Because of breaking Leviticus the 18th chapter.
Good morning.
Because of not honoring marriage. Now, here is my question. What symptoms come from fornication? What are those said symptoms? Let's go to, I'm going to jump around a little bit. You got the video? Okay, hold on. Before we get the video, I want to get one of the precursors of the symptoms. Give me Sirach chapter 19, verse 1. We're going to read 1 through 3. Sirach chapters 19, verse 1.
The book of Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 1. A laboring man that is given to drunkenness shall not be rich.
Read.
And he that contenteth small things shall fall by little and little.
So it's a pining away. That's like a poison. It's a slow death. It's a slow killing. Read.
Wine and women will make men of understanding to fall away.
So this is one of the Achilles heels of a wise man. If that wise man were to fall to wine, or a man of understanding, if he were to fall to wine or if he were to fall to women, it will destroy him. Read.
And he that cleaveth to harlots will become impotent.
He becomes of disrespect, no effect. Nobody cares for him. And he's going to destroy himself with harlots, with wine and women. And what do all those things have in common? They're very expensive. That's why I mentioned at first that laboring man, meaning that working man, he ain't going to be rich. He going to be poor, always broke and destitute, looking for the next bottle or the next woman. Read.
Moths and worms shall have him to heritage, and a bold man shall be taken away.
You see that? So now moths and worms, meaning poverty, is going to be his riches. That's going to be what cleaves onto him, is poverty. One more verse.
He that is hasty to give credit is light-minded.
Read.
And he that sinneth shall offend against his own soul.
So the one that is very hasty to credit evil people, they're going to be destroyed quick. And that's what's wrong with us today. Again, remind you what we read before. We went to 2nd Ezra, the 4th chapter, 23rd verse, to show the things that namely plague us on a daily. Drunkenness plague us on a daily. Promiscuous women, for the men, plague us on a daily. For our sisters, the lusting after multiple men, women, all of the above, plague us daily. These are the things that we need to be talking about. These are the things that we need comfort from. All right? You got that video?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's play it. Let's go.
Got it on. Ready?
All structures in the body function together to maintain homeostasis, a process by which the body maintains its internal environment in response to the external environment. Examples of how the body maintains homeostasis include metabolism of drugs and toxins in the liver, regulation of water and solutes in the blood by the kidneys, regulation of blood glucose by the pancreas.
All right, so it seems like we're having some sound issues with that video. So that's fine. All right, so basically that video is just showing you the different parts of the body, the different layers of what's in the body, and then how this thing of homeostasis or balance happens when there's external forces or external differences, how the body regulates and maintains its internal core temperature. And even sicknesses, when sicknesses befalls the body. For instance, when you get a cold, what is a symptom? One of the symptoms of a cold is a fever, coughing, congestion, discomfort, things like that, right? But now we got to ask ourselves, why is this discomfort happening? What is the body trying to do that we aren't privy to? The body is trying to make itself feel better. So why is there coughing? It's coughing because there's a buildup in mucus to then get whatever deterrent is within your lungs to cough it out. Why do you have a fever? The fever, the body already raises the temperature of your internal body to kill off certain bacteria. You see how the Lord has our bodies as it's like a machine. It's doing self-computing all the day long. Even when you sleep, your body is repairing itself. So just like our body repairs itself, we then need that same repair. But we have to find out, okay, what symptoms or illnesses do we have? What are their symptoms? And what in those symptoms, what are they telling us about our present day world on how to get better? Now, let's get a little further into it. Because I ain't going to stay on those videos. If they don't work, they don't work. let's go to Sirach chapter 18, verse 30 now. This is another thing that plagues us. A lot of us don't understand how to control this spirit here that we're going to read. Ecclesiasticus chapter 18, verse 30.
The book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 18 and verse 30.
Uh-huh.
Go not after thy lust.
You see that? The scriptures say, go not after thy lust. Easier said than done, huh? All right, let's keep reading though.
But refrain thyself from thine appetite.
So why does it refer to your lust being an appetite? For example, this lust, of course, is going into sexual, but all covetousness it's the same feeling everywhere around. It's just performed differently. For instance, the craving that you have, like if you have a sweet tooth, you may have a craving for a certain bar, candy bar, cookie, whatever it may be, right? That feeling of that craving is that covetous spirit. Now, that same feeling will go into the sexual sort. It's the same feeling. It's that same craving that you have. It's a craving. Like that's why it mentions it about an appetite. It's a craving. Now, going to let's transfer that covetousness into materialistic gain. It's the same feeling. You have that craving for money or materialistic gain, houses, cars, the vanity of the world. It's the same feeling. It's just implemented differently. One is for that feeling is for materialistic gain and money. The other one is for sexual pleasures. The other one is for food. That's where you get into gluttony, things of that nature. But you have to recognize and identify, how does this feeling feel? It feels as an appetite, as if you're hungry. You have to suffice a craving. That's how it feels. Read again.
Sirach chapter 18 and verse 30.
Uh-huh.
Go not after thy lust.
Read.
But refrain thyself from thine appetite.
So your appetite will be your lust in which you're going after. Whatever your lust or covetousness is, whatever it is, it says refrain yourself from that thing. Stop yourself. I'm trying to show you how to identify how you know that covetousness is on you. It's a craving. It's like an appetite. You got to suffice it. That's how it feels. Keep reading.
If thou givest thy soul the desires that please her.
So now, if you feel yourself on this appetite and now you're full, what's going to happen to you?
She will make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies that malign thee.
So now, when you fall in the midst of sin, who really is your enemy now? It's the one that you used to call brother. It's the one that's judging you now, because now you're in the midst of sin. You're the one that is enemy to the children of God because you committed sin. So now those are going to be the ones that's against you. Now you're standing up being look crazy, looking goofy. And now all your sins are being brought upon the entire congregation. And that is embarrassing. Read that part again.
Verse 31,
Uh-huh.
If thou givest thy soul the desire that please her, she will make thee a laughing stock.
See, that laughing stock is embarrassment. That's the embarrassment. Now all your sins are being brought up. Now all your lusts are being brought up on a public level. Now you look as an embarrassment. Read.
To thine enemies that malign thee.
That go against you. The children of God goes against those that are committing sin. So when you are in that moment, the ones that are against you in that present moment are the ones that you used to call brother. The ones that are judging you in that moment. They are against the sin that you are in. Now, keep reading.
Take not pleasure in much good cheer, neither be tied to thine expense thereof.
Okay, so now you know how to identify what that feeling or craving is, that appetite. Now let's get a little deeper on it. What are, outside of the sexual diseases that happen with with women, what other depictions happen when you get in the midst of fornication, breaking those things? Give me Proverbs chapter 6. Give me Proverbs chapter 6. I want to start at a specific spot. I want 26.
The book
No,
of
25. 25.
the book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 25. Lust not after her beauty and
No,
thine
24.
heart.
24. I'm sorry. 24.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 24.
Uh-huh.
To keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman.
So, brothers, this is something to look out for. When it says the flattery of an evil woman. Now, the flattery always comes from the mouth. So that means that she's going to use her mouth to try to seduce you. Keep reading.
Lust not after her beauty in thine heart.
What does the scripture say?
Lust not after her beauty in thine heart.
It also tells you what lust begins. It begins in your mind. That's your heart. It says lust not after her in your heart. Why? Because when you put it in your mind, your body is going to follow. Read.
Neither let her take thee with her eyelids.
So it's showing you she's using her mouth and she's using her beauty to allure you. Read.
26. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread.
So that piece of bread is what we just read in Sirach, the 18th chapter, about being a laughing stock. You're made to nothing. Now you look crazy. You now all the things that happen, you got to think about this. We're looking at the determining factors of what it takes to commit fornication. You have to then look at this sister. You have to then think about her sexually in your mind, or think about her beauty in your mind. Then you have to act upon it. It's multiple layers and steps before the fornication actually goes forth. Read.
And the adulteress will hunt for the precious life.
So the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. In certain cases, you have brothers messing around with married sisters and vice versa. Sisters married, messing around with married brothers. How does that bring you to hurt, though? Jump down. Let's go to verse 29.
Verse 29. So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever touches her shall not be innocent.
See that? Read.
Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry.
Meaning you understand. Like, okay, you stole a piece of bread. I understand. You was hungry, whatever. They may even pardon that, right? But keep reading.
But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold.
Meaning you have to keep the commandment of restitution. You have to restore sevenfold. That's based off the commandments. Read.
He shall give all the substance of his house.
Uh-huh.
But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding.
You don't have the understanding of God in this case. Read.
He that doeth it destroyed his own soul.
Read on.
A wound and a dishonor shall he get.
You see, read that again.
A wound and a dishonor shall he get.
A wound. Is this talking about a spiritual wound? No, it's not. That's why I say in cases like this, it leads to physical violence. You messed around with another man's wife. You didn't know. Let's say you didn't know. She didn't tell you. You thought she was single this whole time, and then you find out the day of your fornication. Now you looking crazy. You caught with your pants down, literally. Now the husband comes up. He busts through the door. You're looking goofy. And now he put hands on you. Rightfully so. But this shows you why. Read it again.
A wound and a dishonor shall he get.
So a wound and dishonor shall that man get. Read.
And his reproach shall not be wiped away.
That man will always be known as, oh yeah, you know he mess around with brothers' wives, or he does this, he does that. It's very hard to wipe that type of stain off your name. It really is. It's very hard. But it's showing you this happens in our community every day. Most of the people here in Birmingham, there was a brother that went on a killing spree. And he killed, correct me if I'm wrong, reader, 11 people?
Yep. Yes,
He
sir.
killed 11 people. They finally got him. But I'm telling y'all, all this stem over a woman. I'm telling y'all. That's how crazy it is out here. All right, let's keep going though. Give me Sirach 25:1. Or better yet, since I said that, give me 2nd Ezra real quick. No. First Ezra 4. First Ezra, the 4th chapter. I want a point in there. Because I said that about the brother operating foolishly because of a woman. Give me, I think it's verse 21. Yes. Start there.
First Esdras, chapter 4 and verse 21. He sticketh not to spend his life with his wife, and remembereth neither father, nor mother, nor country. But this also ye must know, that women have dominion over you. Do ye not labor and toil, and give them bring all to the women?
Read.
Sorry about that. For ye, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and steal, to sail upon the sea and upon rivers.
So this type of man is a simp. This is a foolish man. This type of man is going to do this. He's going to rob and steal. He's going to break God's law for this type of woman. This is a sinful man. Keep reading.
And look upon a lion and goeth in the darkness. And when he have stolen, spoiled, and robbed, he bringeth it to his love.
He bring all the stolen goods back to his woman. This is what's going on in the street today. This is why you be having gang wars and gang fights, because they find out a woman that they like, I love her, man. I love her. They find out that she been messing around with an opposition. Now they go to war. Now they fighting. And it's over foolish men, simp men, over these women, chasing thighs and skirts. Read that again.
And looketh upon a lion and goeth in the darkness. And when he have stolen and spoiled and robbed, he bring it to his love.
So now this man has courage. Now he's not the cowardly lion no more because of his love. He's going to do all these brave feats just for his love. And this is going into wicked men, robbing, stealing, killing for that woman. Read.
Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother.
Read on. Here's the point.
Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sake.
So these type of men have lost their minds over women. And that's the psychological ramifications of it, where they would do stupid and crazy things to themselves because of the loss of this woman, or they would do stupid and crazy things to others because of the loss of this woman. Showing you that it affects us. Sin affects us on multifaceted levels. It's not just, okay, you commit the sin and that it's done. It's just between you. No, it's a ripple effect. It involves everybody around you, and it affects everybody around you. But let's see something else. So with that, with a brother going into a sister, and let's say a baby is involved, give me that in Sirach 42, because I got to build this stage real quick. Sirach 42.
Yes, sir.
Verse 9.
The book of Sirach, chapter 42, and verse 1.
9.
Verse 9. The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep. When she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she shall be hated.
You see that's the importance of fathers. We as fathers are supposed to be that safeguard between silly women and these simp brothers. We're supposed to be that safeguard. We're supposed to hedge our daughters. If we see that she has some whorish tendencies, we're supposed to hedge her against these type of men. That's the importance of fathers. It creates structure. But when there is no fathers, keep reading.
In her virginity, lest she be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house.
Read.
And have a husband, lest she shall misbehave herself. And when she is married, lest she should be barren.
You see that? Most of our sisters don't value their bodies at all. And because they don't value their bodies, they give up their virginity as if it's nothing. They just sleep with Tom, Dick, Harry, all of them, right? But then after they do these things, they're not understanding that it's destroying themselves. They think that, oh, they're liberal. They can do whatever they want. But it's not the case. They're actually destroying themselves. Then it says, this one uses the father's house. The father is a laughingstock because he couldn't control his daughter, so on and so forth, right? But now we understand in this paradigm, it's a sickness, it's a disease going on, a break in structure or function. So in most houses in our community, Black, Hispanic, and Native American community, we either have fathers that are there, but they're there physically, but they're not there mentally. They're clocked out. Or you would have no fathers present, and it's just the mother raising the children. This happens all the time, where you have teen pregnancies. You have all these teen pregnancies, and now you have children raising children with no regard to what that looks like for their family. Read again.
In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house.
So she's defiled, meaning she slept around, she got pregnant, and now, in this case, she's in her father's house. But in the case of today, she's in her mama's house. Read.
And having her husband, lest she should misbehave herself.
Now she's married and she's very disrespectful. Why? She has the spirit of all the other men she laid with in her. So now that man is battling Tom, he battling Dick, and he battling Harry. Read.
And when she is married, lest she should be barren.
And now she's over abused herself with sexual pleasure. She may have had multiple abortions. Now when she really wants to have a child, she can't. Her womb is woe out, toe up, because of all the evil that she did in her young, youthful age. When she had youth, when she was fertile, she was abusing it. But then when she get old and fat, now she want a husband. Oh, what they call it? Use a cockarouser as a young lady, and then when you get old, now you want to settle down. Now you want some dogs and cats. No, it don't work that way. Keep reading.
Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she shall make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies and a byword in the city.
So this shows you that our people talk, and they're going to talk about that girl. Oh, yeah, she fast. You need to stay away from her. She this, she that. Read.
And a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude.
So now she's making you ashamed. Her actions is proving your lack of a parent because you didn't put certain safeguards in play. Now she's a teenager in your house and she's pregnant. So her actions is a reflection of your parenting. And that's something that we got to look at. We got to really dive in. Am I a good parent? Am I really doing everything necessary for my child not to be in these said diseases? Now, one of the diseases is single parent households. And this is one of the cases of a single parent household. You have promiscuity going on within the community. You have brothers sleeping around with multiple sisters, and sisters having a lot of babies with no present fathers. So a single parent community is a disease. Why? Because the definition of disease is a disorder of function or structure in a human. So it's not just a disorder or a disorder in your body. No, it's a disorder or function. So the function of the man is not there. That's a disease. Then it's a disorder within the household being a single parent household. That's a disease. That is a pure disease. What is another one? Trauma bonds. I need you to look that up for me. trauma bond, and abusive relationships. This comes out of single-parent households. This is a sickness, one of the traumas or one of the symptoms of a single-parent household. Trauma bonds and abusive relationships. Yeah, put that on the screen. Trauma bonds. I want that word. Trauma bonds. TRAUMA -bonds. Because a lot of us don't like to take the responsibility of the scriptures, and we fall into this. We fall into either a single parent household that's not productive. And I'm mainly talking of us without. Us that's within, we're trying to fix ourselves, but us that's without, we don't even know how to fix ourselves. We don't even see ourselves in a problem. We don't see ourselves in a disease. All right, you got it? Put it up. Yeah, read that for me.
A trauma bond is a strong, unhealthy emotional connection that forms between a victim and their abuser.
You see that? It says a victim, not a lover, a victim, and their abuser. And you know another thing of trauma bonds, when you have all these single ladies with all these bad children coming together trying to talk to each other about all this trauma that they experience, and that's their only link is the trauma. But then once somebody start to get better, then they hate them. They call them all type of evil names. That's a trauma bond too, because both of y'all are victims, but then y'all worship or y'all idolize y'all victimization. No, that's a trauma bond. All right, let's get one of them. One of the symptoms of that trauma bond is Proverbs 6:13. Read that for me. Proverbs 6:13.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 13.
Read.
He winketh with his eyes. He speaketh with his feet. He teaches with his fingers.
Hey, that's that five fingers to the face. Oh, you said something. Pow. That's what that is. This is a man he's always hitting on that woman. Or the sister, always abusing the man. And the man, he stay quiet about it. He know he be getting beat down at the house. It goes down. It's like UFC in the house. And he losing. She on the top ground pound. What was it? Ground and pound until he make no sound. That's how it is with some of these brothers. They getting beat up at the house. And they are ashamed to come out and come forward with it. But this happens. This is a trauma bond. And where did it stem from? Single parent households. Where else did that stem from? Fornication, which is a sin. Just showing you, yes, sin has a lot of different layers in how that disease spread amongst our people. Now, give me Proverbs 15:1. This is another thing that comes out of abusive relationships or trauma bonded relationships. Proverbs chapter 15 verse 1.
The book of Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 1. A soft answer turneth away wrath.
Read.
But grievous words stir up anger.
Read on.
The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of a fool poureth out foolishness.
See, the mouth of a fool pours out foolishness, but you see the common denominator? They don't even know how to use their senses for righteousness' sake. Your sense to speak, you use that for evil, but God could have left you mute at birth. But no, you have the gift of speaking, but then you use that to destroy someone. You use that to get on somebody's case. You use that for manipulation. You use it for evil, sin. That's why it says at the end it says the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. What is foolishness? Sin, the breaking of or the transgression of God's law. So it's going to be in your mouth. It's going to be in your lips. And then it says, but grievous words stir up anger. So these people don't have it all together in the mind where they now are speaking abusive one to another. And then they have the audacity to call that's my friend. This is a good friend of mine. And y'all speak abusive to one another. This is how y'all speak abusive. Give me Sirach 23:15. And I'm showing you, because of fornication, now we're getting different layers. We already went through the diseases that happen, the physical diseases that happen to our body. Now we get into the social diseases that happen within our body. Read that.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 23 and verse 15.
Read.
The man that is accustomed to opprobrious words will never be reformed all the days of his life.
Now we got to look up that term. That's a scholastic word right there. That's a scholarly word. Opprobrious. Opprobrious. Look that up. Because we use that, but we really don't know what it means. There's a reason why I'm going into the abusive relationship or the abusive type of person in this case. Give me that real quick. Opprobrious. And pull it up. OPPROBRIOUS. Opprobrious. That should be on the spelling bee, Israel. Spelling bee. Spell opprobrious. Think about using it in a sentence, please.
Opprobrious.
Put it up on the screen. I want the nation to see it. Yeah, read that.
Opprobrious. Expressing scorn or criticism. Opprobrious remarks. We do the similarities.
Yes, sir. Because we need simple words for these big words. Read it.
Abusive.
What?
Abusive.
Abusive language. Read.
Vituperative. Derogatory.
Derogatory language. Huh. Read.
Disparaging.
Huh.
Denigratory. Purgative.
So all this is evil connotations. Hit the chevron. Yeah. What other simple? You see that? It says offensive. You see that? Read that. I want you to read the easy, simple words, because this is what opprobrious means. It means derogatory. It means abusive language. Read on.
Insulting.
Insulting. Read.
Offensive.
Offensive language. Read.
Slanderous.
Slanderous. Read.
Scandalous.
You see that? This goes into opprobrious. You using language to hurt someone on a mental and social level. You're using your words to hurt somebody. Give me that in James 3 about the power. It's a fire in the tongue. James chapter 3 verse 5. It's a little member. Yep. 5 through 6. I just want that little piece. Read that.
James chapter 5 and
3. Chapter
and
3
verse
verse
6.
5. James 3.
Oh, James 3, sorry.
Verse 5 and 6.
Yes, sir. James chapter 3 and verse 5.
Uh-huh.
Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasteth great things.
Read.
Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth.
You see that? It's a small member, but it kindles a fire. It can spark something in somebody. Read.
And the tongue is a fire, a whirl of iniquities.
Uh-huh.
So is the tongue amongst our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell.
You see that? You can use your tongue in the most abusive way to now be set, like you can receive punishments for that. Actually, let's read some history real quick. I know we don't got much time, but hey, I'm gonna try to get through it. Give me 1 Samuel chapter 25. Read verse 3 only. Once you're done with 3, we're gonna jump. Yes, sir. 1 Samuel 25. 1 Samuel 25, and then start at verse 3. We gotta get an example of this, Israel. We read earlier, hey, the things that was written aforetime was written for us to learn from. So we're going in the past now. Read.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 25 and verse 3.
Read.
Now the name of the man was Nabal. And the name of his wife, Abigail.
Read on.
And she was a woman of good understanding and of a beautiful countenance. But the man was churlish and evil in his doings. And he was of the house of Caleb.
Judah. Caleb is of Judah. So, now, he was churlish and evil in his doings. So, this is going on a social level because churlish, look up that word. You got to look up these words, Israel. We got to understand, what is this talking about? It says churlish. Churlish. You know, the first time I heard churlish, it was, what was that? I think it was Key and Peele. It was a Key and Peele skit. I think it was Coach Frank. He's like, he's churlish, insubordinate. But we got to find out what this word means. What does it mean? Churlish. Churlish. Come on now, IT. Let's go. Let's go. Just type it in. Transition over. All right, read that.
Right. Churlish, rude and mean-spirited and surely way.
So you're rude and you're mean-spirited. That's churlish. So this going into the social ramifications of a disease. And I'm using this as an example because some brothers and sisters are like this. They're just rude individuals. Don't want to smile. They always have a scowl on their face. They rude. Read those synonyms.
Rude, ill-mannered, discourteous, impolite.
Impolite. A lot of impolite Israelites. Read.
Ungracious, unmannerly.
Now, with all that, you're rude. Nah, you can stop right there. You're rude. You're impolite. You have no social etiquette. None. Now, jump to verse 9 now. Let's see his social etiquette, how bad it was. And he was in the midst of sin, being opprobrious. It almost cost him his life. Read that.
1 Samuel chapter 25 and verse 9. And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all those words in the name of David.
Read.
And ceased. And Nabal answered David's servants and said, who is David? And who is the son of Jesse?
And wait a minute. This man knows who David is. So this is obviously slight. He's of the house of Caleb. Caleb is known, and Caleb is of Judah. So you telling me a man that is known and is of Judah don't know who Jesse and David is? Okay. So it was some slight here. Being rude again. Ill-mannered. Read.
There be many servants nowadays that breaketh away every man from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my shearers and give it unto men whom I know not whence they be?
You know what he is? He's a niggard. He's a stingy Judite. But we have a lot of brothers and sisters battling this spirit here because their upbringings was rough. They probably had a single parent household, didn't have nothing, and now they feel, okay, I got all this. What is it to me to share it with this person or to that person? Just like Nabal just said. Keep reading.
So David's young men turned their way and went again and came and told him all those sayings. And David said unto his men, girt ye on every man his sword. And they girded on every man his sword. And David also girded on his sword. And there went up after David about 400 men, and 200 abode by the stuff. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed on them.
And he railed on him. When you look up rail, that goes into cursing them out, making them look bad, embarrassing them, being ill-mannered, rude again. Because you know the knowledge of the scriptures, you have to be, what the scriptures say, you have to multiply friends with sweet language. That's in Sirach 6, verse 5. Actually, get that real quick. This is how you remedy that rudeness. You got to be nice. It's that simple. You got to be nice. You got to be the opposite of what you are. If you are rude, that means that, okay, I got to be polite. If you then have tendencies of railing on people or cussing people out, you may need to stay silent. You do the opposite because that means that you're working on yourself. Read that real quick. Sweet language multiplies friends. Read that.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 6 and verse 5. Sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair-speaking tongue will increase kind greetings.
So you see that? You see how the tongue can get different paradigms? You can get one aspect, like Nabal, he almost got killed because of his rude tongue, because of his disrespect, because of his impoliteness. And then on the other hand, if you know how to use your tongue, you can multiply friends. You can be trustworthy, dependable, things of that nature. So all this is going into this single parent household, because I'm still staying there. This is a symptom, and we have the symptoms. It's abusive relationships. You have grievous words amongst each other, opprobrious words, you cussing each other out. Oh, and then you don't even know who a real friend is. You think your real friend speak to you ill-mannerly, talking about your mama, your granddad that died of gout and all this other stuff. You think a real friend would do that? They will approach you as a friend. They'll approach you with respect, even if there's an issue that you have to talk about. It's still going to be a respect factor there. But a lot of us struggle with being rude and polite, very brass at the mouth, cussing people out. We got to work on that. And this is a disease of single parent households. One more. I ain't going to finish, but I do want to revisit this because it must be talked about. Let's go into the mental aspect of it. Real quick, I want you to define neurosis really quick. We're just going to define this word, and we're going to get one more scripture because I'm looking at the time. I'm out of time. And we started a little late because we had some technical difficulties, but we are going to pick this up. Because Israel, we got to talk about this. These are things that we got to talk about. Neurosis, Neurosis. Neurosis. We have to look these words up. Neurosis. Nero goes into the mind. I want to definitely look this up because we have a lot of different mental hangups in our community because of sin. It stemmed from fornication. Now, because of fornication, we're rude to one another. We don't know how to do business right with one another. Let me touch that real quick. Doing business right with one another. You will purchase something as the buyer or as the seller. You'll purchase something for like $3, and then you overcharge it and sell it for $65. Come on now, that don't make any sense. That makes no sense. That shows it's a lack of brotherhood there. There's a lack of social skills there. All right, bring that definition up. Read it.
Neurosis, a mental condition that is not caused by organic disease.
You see that? Not organic disease. That's the physical disease. Read.
Involving symptoms of stress, depression, anxiety, obsessive behavior.
You see that? Now we get into the mental hang-ups. This is what we need, Israel. A lot of us have a lot of mental hang-ups, where it's anxiety, depression, obsessive behavior, things of this nature. This is what we struggle with. This is the mental illnesses that come from breaking God's commandments. One more script, and then I'll have to end it, but I am picking this up. Sirach 30, verse 21 through 25. Ecclesiasticus chapter 30, verse 21. This goes into the fact of that neurosis, what we just talked about. Certain mental hang-ups. This is one of the causing factors of it. Ecclesiasticus chapter 30, verse 21 through 25.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 30 and verse 21. Give not over thy mind to heaviness, And afflict not thyself in thine own counsel.
So you see that heaviness? That goes into that mental stress. Then it says, afflict not thyself in thine own counsel, meaning you're going through a very traumatic experience, and in your mind, you're trying to cope with it versus speak about it. Speak about it and actually receive help. A lot of us do that. You know why? Because of pride. It was another video I had going into how people that suffer with something called psychosomatic disorders, it says their mind is so strong. Nah, it ain't. It is strong as flint, meaning you hard-headed. You hard-headed enough not to receive counsel. You're hard-headed enough not to apply God's medicine or his laws in your life. You're hard-headed. All right, keep reading.
The gladness of the heart is the life of a man.
So that's why God has all these feast days. He understands that we're in captivity, but we need gladness. You need laughter. You need mirth. You need jovialness. You need these things for mental help. This is for mental health, actually. Keep reading.
And the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days.
So a joyful man will live longer than a man that is stressed out. Let's keep reading. Let's see why. Read.
Love thine own soul and comfort thy heart.
Read.
Remove sorrow far from thee.
So you must remove sorrow or depression far from you. It's something that Trump said that I wholeheartedly agree with. He said, if you are depressed, you have too much time on your hands and you're idle. You need to get up and do something. You need to work. I agree. A lot of people have too much time to say, oh, I'm depressed because of, I have an imbalance of chemicals and this, that, and the third. No, you lazy. You have too much time on your hand and you're sitting around too long doing nothing, being idle. That's why you're depressed. Keep reading.
For sorrow hath killeth many.
Sorrow has even killed many. Read.
And there is no profit therein.
There's no profit in sorrow. It leads to death. But where am I getting at? All these are mental hangups that happen that you put on yourself because you refuse to keep God's commandments, because you refuse to be active in God's commandments. Read.
Envy and wrath shorten the life. And carefulness bringeth age before the time.
That carefulness is that worry. That means, have you ever seen somebody? Well, I talked to my rib the other day. And I said, I saw a person. They said that we was the same age, but I thought that was my elder. I honestly thought they was like 65. I'm not kidding you. Life beat them down and won multiple times. And it shouldn't be like that. That's why God has all these things in the law for our benefit, Israel. Mirth, joyfulness, gladness, the building of brotherhood, the building of a nation. All these things are stemmed within God's law. Now, if you're not keeping those things, yeah, you're going to look crazy. You're going to probably be 25 looking 47. No, looking 52. 52, grayed out, looking old because you just worry about everything because you don't have the laws of God on you. Keep reading.
A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
And your mental state also affects what you're going to eat. It also affects how you think of yourself. If you really love yourself and you want to live a long time, you're going to eat those things that's necessary to live longer. It's just that simple. You're going to take care of your body. But if you don't really care, you're going to be crazy big, like morbidly obese, to the point where your stomach is hanging over your stomach. You could barely walk. You'll be that brother he be like, buttermilk biscuits. You're going to be him. And you know where he at? He is dead. He dead because he did not care for himself, and it was a mental hang up he could not get over. And where did he go? He went through the lust of eating food until he died. So we're going to pick it back up, Israel, because I really want to go further into this. I have way more things I want to show how sin is very directive to sicknesses that happen in our community. And sicknesses is not just the physical sort. It's also mental hangups and social hangups. All right. So, hey, that's my time for today. All praise to the Most High. Y'all learned something today, but Lord's will, I get back up. I'm finishing this class. But hey, again, hey, I enjoyed teaching y'all, brothers and sisters. Lord's will, y'all learned something today. Again, I'm Officer Keaton out of Birmingham camp. Hey, and Lord's will, we gonna revisit this Israel. All right, shalom. Most High Christ bless.